Earlier this year, we had an opportunity to visit Primary Arms HQ and check out some of their new flagship optics releasing this year. These, however, kind of overshadowed the release of their updated line of budget optics. The MD21 GLX and SLX are both a substantial upgrade over the MD25 predecessor and showcase the open ear that PA has kept to customer feedback and comment sections in videos just like these. So, what changed in these two new offerings, and should they be considered for your next red dot purchase? We'll get into it, but first, a word from our sponsors.
Imagine a 9mm carbine with roller delay action just like Kraut Space Magic. Now imagine it didn't have garbage ergonomics. The brand new Kuna from Springfield Armory gives you that roller delayed, smooth recoil you're looking for with reversible, non-reciprocating charging handle and MB absolutely everything.
And by Aguila Ammunition. ARs can be hungry little beasties, but rifle ammo usually only comes in boxes of 20 when standard magazines hold 30. That's dumb and makes puppies sad, so Aguila Ammunition packages their 5.56 in 30-round boxes. It also is available in sealed battle packs and keeps the ammo tasting fresh for the Pocky-lips. Per the normal naming convention with PA products, the GLX is their gold line or more premium designation, and their SLX or standard line of products is like the base model for you car folks. They share a lot of features, so let's start off with how they're similar, and then we'll get into what makes them different. Both weigh 5 ounces and come with 12 brightness settings. At least 2 of those settings work great with night vision in relatively low light. They both take a CR2032 battery and have push-button adjustments as opposed to the rotary dials on the older models. As a side note, both of the included batteries out of the box were dead, so be sure to have some spare batteries on hand if you're getting one. They stuck with the Aimpoint Micro mounting footprint, and it comes with 2 mounts, for an absolute or a lower 1/3 co-witness. The windage and elevation adjustments are in half MOA increments and have these newer generation exposed turrets, which are a breeze to use with the back of a cartridge or a coin. Both come with a fully multi-coated lens and a 21mm tube. Both also come with a simple red dot option or the ACSS CQB reticle. I'm not normally a fan of complex reticles on red dots, but I found the selectable system easy to use and switch between. More importantly, it was incredibly crisp despite all the ranging hash marks, chevrons, and horseshoes. Personally, I prefer just the chevron or the chevron with the horseshoe, and I found the reticle to be clear in a range of different lighting conditions. PA already has anti-reflection devices available for these, and there are plenty of aftermarket accessories for mounts, covers, and other ARDs through third-party manufacturers. The big glaring difference between the two is the rather pronounced solar panel on top of the GLX model. What's cool about this feature is rather than using it to charge the battery, it actually just runs the dot in lieu of drawing power from the battery. Both have PA's Auto Live feature, which turns the dot off when it's not in use and kicks it back on at the smallest of movements. They are both allegedly more robust and equipped with more sensitive sensors to increase the reliability and consistency of the Auto Live feature. We're still early in our testing, but so far these claims seem to be true. Depending on the model you choose, they start out at $159 and go up to $219, and I think it'll raise the bar for entry-level red dots as long as tariffs don't get too out of hand in the upcoming months. Now, normally this next part is where we get to chat about our more objective personal experience with the product, but instead, Steven, PA's Director of Product Management, made the trip from down south to hit the range with us and answer some of our more intimate questions about the product. So with our more collected and organized thoughts about these two red dots, we're going to talk more candidly about them. I managed to kidnap Steven with us from Primary Arms so that we can get actual accurate answers. You don't have to trust me. You can trust him. I think we have accurate information on these.
I like how you laugh when you say that.
Yeah. It's going to be like, when are they available? And he's going to be like, next week. Hard wink. And then Bobby's here to help us stay based and not be cringy, which I don't know that should be his department, but that is. But this is the MD21. This is the GLX and the SLX. And explain to everybody, because I've explained it a few times. So GLX means what and SLX means what?
So SLX is kind of our more price-conscious entry-level portion, while you're still getting into a lot of the feature sets that Primary Arms Optics is known for. Like you start getting into Auto Live, you start getting into the ACSS reticle systems. That's where you're going to find that kind of first step into those features. Our GLX is kind of our mid-tier, so it's a step up from the SLX, but it's not quite up on our PLX level, which is all our flagship stuff.
Right.
So a little bit more advanced feature set, but it's still a very kind of price-conscious line as well.
And for these, the easiest way to know, and I literally, we were doing night vision shooting with this, and I would just feel the top. And I was just feeling for the buttons, and I was like, okay, I have the GLX right now, or I'd have the SLX if I felt the bumps. The biggest thing is these, and will they all come with this little...
Yeah, so that's on specifically on the GLX.
The GLX,
so
right.
that's kind of that step up in feature sets, and it's a solar fail-safe. So like CR20, there's a lot of people like, oh, it charges the batteries. It doesn't. You can't charge a CR2032. It will explode, and that's bad. It's like putting batteries in a microwave.
You heard
Do
it
not
here.
recommend. So what it does, as soon as that panel gets enough light to power the optic, it switches power control over to the panel, and then once you go into a lower light, like with these lights on, it'll actually run it, and then as soon as the lights turn off, it switches back over to the battery.
Very
and you're
cool.
not you don't see that transition. You don't know it's actually happening. It just does it. It's pretty sick.
I noticed this profile is very similar. We did the micro prisms earlier this year, and you've gone to like this much more like I guess blended body design. Is there anything in the boards that's different from previous generations, or what's different?
Yeah, I mean, this is so we announced this last year at SHOT Show, and it was supposed to come out in either Q1 or Q2 of last year. Now it's finally to market. And it was because of kind of redesigns that we did within the system itself, and we ended up completely redoing the electrical components inside. So brand new board, brand new Autolife technology in there. We changed pretty much everything in it, which is why we had to delay it a little bit. We wanted to make sure it was perfect before we could get it done. The Autolife in there, we've actually changed the orientation of the accelerometers, so they're more robust as well as more sensitive at the same time. So like sitting here, if I do that on the table, they both turn on, and then they go to sleep after they.
So they
sit
need to be
still
like
for 3 minutes.
perfectly still.
Yeah, it's still. So we want, as soon as somebody grabs one of these things and picks it up to use it, it's back on. There's no delay. There's no waiting.
With the enhancements to the board, did you guys get like a significant, or like what's the battery life on these now?
Pretty stout battery life increases on them. That was one of the purposes behind the redesign. It depends on which mode you're on and which version you have, but with the ACSS version, everything turned on, you're looking at about 20 to 30,000 hours at a medium setting, but that's constant burn time. So that's not including any time that, like on the GLX, that solar failsafe is running it. That's not including sleep time. And the sleep time on it, the actual battery cells will, like the chemistry breaks down before it depletes the energy from the battery, so that, I mean, barely drawing anything off of there.
Right.
So we were able to make it extremely efficient.
Can confirm the batteries will die before anything else dies in there. I will complain to you because both of my batteries were dead when I opened these. That was really my only complaint. That the reticle changing on there, it was also a very clean reticle. And even in unmagnified eyesight, I could still actually make out the individual like hash marks
Those little drop
that were in it,
indicators, yeah.
which I think would still be a lot more usable under magnification, and that's probably what it's designed for.
Yep.
But I was surprised at how clean it was for a red dot. So you're having to admit this. This isn't etched in glass. This isn't anything. This is an emitter that's having to go and give that to my eye.
Whenever you're reflecting stuff off a lens like that, it is hard to get that nice, clean, crisp image, especially like astigmatisms. Everybody's going to see it a little bit different, but it is extremely clean, especially under nods. Running these things under nods, that's a big, we've heard some feedback with some of our other stuff when we first announced these as well. We had some samples that went out for review, and they're like, well, with night vision, it kind of blooms out when you're in a pitch black room and all the lights are turned off and we're negative space and we've got that, whatever that crazy black paint is all over everything. Like, yeah, in that case, it's going to bloom a little bit, but in 95% of actual user cases out there, when you're running these things at night, it's going to contrast well with the target. You're still going to be able to see your target image and be able to adjust through those different reticle options. That's one of the new things with the ACSS CQB in this. We've had the CQB in like the MD21,
Right.
but it's either all or nothing, it's on or off. And this one you can select which features are turned on and which aren't. So like I don't necessarily run a BDC for my red dots because I don't necessarily need to.
Say, yeah.
So I can turn that off. I can just have the chevron and horseshoe. If I just want the chevron, I can turn the horseshoe and the BDC off.
I like it. We shot it kind of goofy. We both had folders, and we decided to do some really stupid
I
drills
was
with
super
that.
impressed. Like, dude,
But-
this kind of works. This is all right.
How many, I guess, brightness settings does it have?
There's 11 total with 3 night vision. And the 3 night vision are actually calibrated for basically pitch black rooms. So think interior, middle of the night, no exterior windows. There is exterior room at night with a little bit of light pollution coming in through the windows, like typical suburban type situation. And then I'm out on the street and there's street lights and there's car traffic lights in the distance and stuff, like lots of light pollution. So you have settings for each one of those so you can actually make it work.
Very cool.
So are you guys also doing ARDs for this as well?
We are. Are you an ARD on a red dot kind of guy?
It depends on the red dot.
He goes like, yes, he
I was
is.
gonna say, that explains a lot.
He goes, did I just out myself? He's like, yes, you did.
But no, yeah, we actually they're available now too. So we released them in tandem with each other, and the same ARD runs on either one, so they don't have to go look for like.
I
this is the SLX
previously had
GLX.
known or familiar with the GLX, and now actually looked pretty clean with the
Yeah.
ARD on.
It did look nice.
Yeah, they're not bad.
It's
So we
right
actually
there.
put a
Very
lot
cool.
of thought into that thing because on a red dot, that's why I asked. On a red dot, if your ARD is too thick, like front to back, it looks like you just have a cluster of coffee stirrers you're looking through, and it gets very like spotlighty. So we take it and we change the size of the mesh and then the depth of the material it's made out of to make it as least obtrusive as possible. One big thing as well, talking about ARDs, we found with our MD25s, there's a lot of customers out there, they would like get one of our MD25s and they'd look at the objective lens on the front and they'd be like, yo, it's crooked, mine's broken. It's not. It's supposed to be angled. It has to be angled. But happy side effect of that is if you have light coming in on a standard ARD, that's why we can make them so thin. If you have light coming into the front, because that lens is angled to account for the emitter, that light isn't reflecting straight back. It's reflecting into the side of that ARD, so you're not getting a glint off of it. Any light coming in that would reflect straight back gets blocked by the ARD. So ARDs on these are actually wildly effective for stopping any reflection coming off that objective.
So out of the box, it comes with this mount. Are you guys going to be offering any different optic heights?
Yeah, so it comes with this mount as well as a spacer. So the way that they're sitting on these two setups is absolute co-witness. It comes with a lower 1/3 co-witness, and then we also have we call it Tall Boy internally. It's a 193 height riser.
Tall boy.
The Tall Boy. It's kind of a sick system. So the Tall Boy mount is open in the middle. So if you're running either flip ups or fixed iron sights, you actually look through the mount, not necessarily through the optic. But another cool thing is it is a T1, T2 style footprint. So that kind of industry standard aim point micro dot style footprint. So anybody who shoots or has ever thought about shooting has at least half a dozen T1, T2 mounts in drawers scattered around the house, so it'll fit on all those.
You picked a very smart footprint. That's probably one of the more common ones for this size of red dot. I think the setting feature, it's really teasing into that serious use case because there's night vision settings for them.
Yeah.
Obviously with the GLX, especially for a duty capacity, especially for that use case, you're getting into like the prosumer to professional grade actual equipment.
Right.
Versus kind of like, we had this conversation off camera, that there definitely was a market for like, I got the airsoft kids, or you want to call it like the people that are hobbyists effectively. This is getting into that tier where it feels a lot more serious use case for that. And it's obviously being designed for that. Whereas like the SLX in that, it has 90% of that.
Yeah.
You're missing one or two things. If your battery dies, use the peep through if you got the Tall Boy sight or whatever it is.
Yep, throw it on that Tall Boy, you're good to hook. And honestly, the SLX came to fruition because there's a lot of dudes out there that are like, oh, I don't want solar panel. That's one more point of failure. Like, okay, well, yeah, we make one without a solar panel.
There you go.
So.
You don't have to worry about it. But anyway, so when are these going to be ready?
Now?
Now?
They're actually
To order 'em now.
available now.
Are we having
go order 'em
any
today.
sketchy tariff conversations?
By the time this goes live, there's everybody in the world has heard about all the new tariffs and stuff. So it does definitely affect this. There's tariffs implemented to almost every country that the United States does business with, and there's very hefty tariffs to China. These are made in China. They're manufacturing partners that we've had over there for years and years and years. But I think the latest number was 124% tariff on Chinese goods or whatever now. So that's going to have an effect. Anybody out there who's looking to buy really anything, if you've been thinking about making purchases, you want to go buy a new computer, whatever it is, get it now because it's about to go crazy.
So there you go. You heard it straight from the horse's mouth. This is really cool. Thank you for taking the time to go shoot with us. You got some lead poisoning with us
always a
collectively
pleasure.
together.
As my hair starts falling out while we're
Hey
filming.
man, what's left of mine's leaving me too. But this is the MD21. This is the GLX and the SLX. It's the 21S technically, and it's their red dots. And then if you have any more questions, we will likely have a full post and write up on the forums for this, which would be really cool. It's actually been relatively productive conversation.
Yeah, it's been
very proud of GE for that. And then obviously in the comment section,
y'all are doing great.
below in this YouTube video, if you like this type of content, go ahead and subscribe to it. We do all of this stuff weekly, and we put a lot of energy and effort to it. We're on all of the socials, and then you can go check out all of Primary Arms stuff. They're the only thing that shows up when you type in Primary Arms. Go support the companies that are supporting your right to the Second Amendment, because without them, we are just, what was the joke I used the other time? Zombie knife fearing people or whatever. Yeah.